Hey gang, it's Tim. How are you? So I wanted to talk about a bunch of conversations I've had this week with agencies both big and small. And there gets to be a time where the agency leader feels lost, where they just don't, where the things that used to work and make sense don't anymore. And over the last week, and really this is like over the last week, I've probably had this conversation 6 or 7 times. Uh, and the what makes these people feel lost is this sense of complexity that didn't used to exist. And really, what this comes down to is 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 overthinking or is sort of over analyzing, and I don't mean to be not to be data driven or feedback driven, but really sort of people getting trapped in their own sort of mental feedback loop, so they're not able to take action. And I think this happens to agency leaders, especially when they get removed from an operational process enough that it evolves without them. And I think that's what happens a lot in bigger agencies. But in smaller agencies, it often happens when the business shifts, when 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 you're shifting a market or you run into a particular kind of headwind, and there's like a moment of panic, and you try to do things that aren't like in your wheelhouse, which happens a lot in a smaller agency. So it's like this sense of disconnection really from what you know how to do, like and not that you can't learn or aren't willing to learn new things, but it is this sort of disconnection that forces you to imagine a world where you don't know what to do next, and that stalls growth, right? Things that used to work no longer do. Opportunities that have come into fruition or used to come into fruition easily are now hard to get, and it's because there's been a change, and your process hasn't adapted to it. Your personal process, your emotional process, your decision-making process hasn't adapted well enough to it. And this is that like a really classic. This is the classic growth stall, because because what happens is either you panic, like small agencies are likely to do, and you start sort of throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks, and you lose focus, and you sort of forget your core value proposition, or if you're in a bigger agency, you start ripping apart processes looking for the broken piece. And likely in both cases, it's the same answer. It's really going back to basics. And the basics that I always come back to, the things that I really always focus on, are simple. They're the 4 W's. Who do you serve? What do you do? What's in it for your client? And why do we get hired? And I find when clients get stuck in a growth process where they don't know what to do next, it's really returning to those core essential elements of defining your offer and your value that restart the growth process. And it's really like it's so regular that people get lost in the complexity of what they do, or of the overthinking of what they do. And the key to unlocking this, the key to sort of unlocking your ability to make better decisions, or to see a new opportunity, or to understand where the friction is, it's really about creating and recreating and re-answering that core sense of target, offer, value, and benefit. Those things, we sort of nail those down, and suddenly like lights, the lights go off and things start happening. And so when you get lost, and everybody gets lost sometime, it's really like reimagining the basics of what you know how to do and the way you know how to present it, They are the key to sort of unlocking your your transition to the next level of success. And if you've never had the success that you want, try to unlock it by really focusing on the basics. Who do you serve? What do you do? What's in it for your client? And why should they hire you? And those essential elements will drive a renewed sense of purpose, clarity, and growth for your agency. Have a great day.